At age 70 and beyond, your immune system becomes more like a memory book than a battlefield. It recalls every infection, every struggle, and sometimes it tires. For seniors living in the US, Canada, or Western Europe, colds last longer, wounds heal slower, and the body doesn't bounce back quite like it used to. But here's what most people miss. It's not about more pills. It's about better habits, smarter nutrition, and a deeper understanding of how the elderly body defends itself. In this video, we're going to explore real, proven ways that seniors can strengthen their immune system naturally without relying on daily medications. From nutrient-packed foods to quiet routines that soothe inflammation, what you're about to hear is backed by science, shaped by stories, and built on decades of elderly wisdom. You'll also meet people, real seniors, who change their lives with simple choices and whose experiences will give you both motivation and perspective. This is Elderly Reflections, where we bring you stories, health insights, and life lessons from the elderly that the world often overlooks. So if you're ready to take your health seriously without adding more to your medicine cabinet, stay with us. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss the next reflection of wisdom, health, and inspiration. As we age, the body whispers what it used to shout. A sneeze lingers longer. A cut becomes a wound. A restless night turns into 3. For many seniors, especially those past 70 living in the quiet neighborhoods of Ontario, Manchester, or rural Wisconsin, these signs are familiar. Some call it aging, but others, those who've looked deeper, see something more, an immune system calling for support, not surrender. This story begins, not in a clinic or a lab, but on a quiet porch bathed in early sunlight. Maria, 78, lives in a modest home just outside Boston. It's not much, she says, but in the mornings, it glows. For years, winters were her enemy. Her bones ached, her chest grew tight, and she'd catch colds like clockwork. It wasn't just getting sick, she recalls. It was staying sick. My energy would vanish. One checkup changed everything. Her nurse suggested a vitamin D blood test. The results were clear. Maria was severely deficient. She told me it was like my immune system was running on fumes. What many seniors don't realize is that vitamin D is not just about bones, it's an immune regulator. After 70, skin becomes less efficient at synthesizing it from sunlight, especially in colder climates. A Harvard study found that older adults with vitamin D levels over 30 ng/ml had significantly fewer respiratory infections than those below that threshold. Another from the University of Zurich linked low vitamin D levels with increased hospitalizations due to pneumonia in adults over 65. Maria's solution? Simplicity. She began sitting in the early sun for 20 minutes each morning, sipping green tea. Her doctor added a gentle daily supplement, just 1,000 IU of D3. Within months, her story changed. That winter, she told us, I only got sick once, and I bounced back. That hadn't happened in years. What she found wasn't a miracle. It was a rhythm, a partnership between her body and nature that had been forgotten for too long, and she wasn't alone. In Wales, 81-year-old Glenn swears by his tiny greenhouse. I go out, open the panels, let the light in, and sit beside my basil plant, he laughs. The warmth does something good to me. I don't know what, but I feel fueled. His doctor confirmed improved bone density and stable immune markers. These are elderly reflections worth listening to. They're not about magic. They're about trust. Trust in the body, trust in light, and a quiet truth. Sometimes the best defense begins with stepping outside. But of course, the sun isn't everything. Not when the real battles are often fought in silence, deep inside, beneath the ribs, behind the navel, where trillions of bacteria, enzymes, and cells decide whether you thrive or decline. This next story takes us into the gut, a place science calls the second brain, but the elderly know simply as where things feel off. Thomas, 82, was never a man to complain. A retired carpenter from Ontario, he'd built houses, raised 3 boys, and survived 2 winters without central heat. But after that urinary tract infection, he recalls, I couldn't eat right. Nothing sat well. I lost weight. I lost muscle. I lost presence. Doctors found no clear illness, but his granddaughter, a young dietitian, had a theory. Your gut's tired, she said. She gave him a plan. Yogurt with live cultures every morning, kefir 3 times a week, oats and bananas for fiber, and most importantly, consistency. It wasn't glamorous, Thomas says. It was sour yogurt and oatmeal, but by week 2, I could feel things moving right. My mind cleared. I started waking up hungry again. The connection between gut health and immunity is now irrefutable. Over 70% of immune cells live in the gut lining. When it weakens through age, stress, antibiotics, or poor diet, everything suffers. A study in Frontiers in Immunology, 2019, confirmed that probiotic use in older adults significantly reduced the frequency and severity of respiratory and urinary infections. Other trials showed improved vaccine response in seniors who regularly consumed prebiotic fiber and fermented foods. And then there's Elise, 79, from southern Germany, who told us with a smile, I eat sauerkraut with lunch, always have, never knew it was medicine. She hadn't had antibiotics in 4 years. Gut resilience isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself with flashy benefits. But you know it when it's missing, and cherish it when it returns. For many seniors, restoring gut health doesn't just prevent sickness. It restores appetite, clarity, and calm. These are not tips. They're truths, handed down not in textbooks, but over kitchen tables and quiet meals. They are the life lessons from the elderly, learned not in a moment, but through seasons of imbalance and rediscovery. And if the sun nourishes and the gut strengthens, then there must be something for protection, something ancient, simple, and still powerful in our modern world. Carl, 85, never meant to quit coffee. It was my one sin, he laughs, seated beside a wood-burning stove in Maine. But rising heartburn made it impossible. A neighbor brought him a box of green tea. I was skeptical, tasted like grass at first, but it settled my stomach. Within a few weeks, something shifted. Carl noticed fewer colds. He breathed easier in the mornings. I didn't expect that, he admits, but now I don't miss a day. Green tea is rich in catechins, especially EGCG, powerful plant compounds that reduce inflammation, suppress viral replication, and support immune memory. Clinical trials in Japan and the US have shown that elderly participants who consumed green tea daily had significantly fewer flu infections and improved immune biomarkers. And it's not just tea. In London, 76-year-old Stan takes elderberry syrup every November. My daughter got it for the grandkids. I thought it was just trendy nonsense, but it worked. He credits elderberry with reducing his flu symptoms by half and helping him stay out of the hospital during peak seasons. Or Bernice, 80, in Manchester, who adds a small handful of blueberries to her breakfast every day. It started as a treat. Then my joints felt better, my mind clearer, my walking steadier. The science supports them. Polyphenols, found in berries, elderberries, dark chocolate, even olives, act as immune modulators. They reduce oxidative stress in aging cells, support healthy circulation, and protect brain function. One large-scale study published in the Journals of Gerontology linked high polyphenol intake with lower frailty and improved longevity in people over 75. But beyond data, what we hear in these stories is something deeper. Carl said it best. We wait too long to trust what's simple. I don't know what green tea is doing in my body, but I know how I feel. That's elderly wisdom. It's not about knowing the molecule. It's about knowing yourself. And so, across countries and cultures, a pattern emerges. These seniors didn't seek shortcuts. They returned to nature, sunlight, fermented food, leaves, berries, not to avoid aging, but to walk through it stronger. Their reflections remind us the body still remembers how to heal, even when the world forgets. Let this part close, not with instructions, but with a moment. Picture Maria in the sun, Thomas with his yogurt, Carl sipping his tea, and Bernice with her bowl of blueberries. As twilight settles and days grow shorter, our next ally in this quiet journey of natural immunity stands in the stillness of rest. We often treat sleep as downtime, but for a senior over 70, it's a time of active renewal. Your immune system doesn't pause while you dream. It recalibrates. It recharges its tanks of cytokines, rebuilds tissue, and strengthens defenses against unseen threats. Stanford researchers now even calculate a sleep age, revealing that stronger sleep patterns directly correlate with longer, healthier aging. It's not just rest, it's a rhythm of survival. Consider the story of Raymond, an 82-year-old retired engineer from Boston. He spent years in a routine of late evenings, anxious thoughts, and fragmented sleep. He told us, "I thought insomnia was just part of getting old, but every autumn brought a string of colds." Finally, after another winter of fatigue, he met with a sleep coach. They set a routine: bedtime at 8 p.m. sharp, a cup of chamomile tea, dim lights, and 30 minutes of reading. No screens. To his surprise, he slept through the night consistently after 2 weeks. The next morning, he recalls, "I woke up feeling solid, like the ground beneath me was real again." That year, he didn't miss a single winter virus. His doctor later confirmed stable immune markers and improved inflammation profiles. His transformation underscored a universal truth: sleep hygiene isn't optional, it's essential for senior immunity. Scientific studies back Raymond's experience. The Sleep Foundation reports that disrupted or insufficient sleep directly impacts T-cell activity and antibody production, increasing vulnerability to infection. In fact, seniors sleeping fewer than 6 hours nightly had about 50% more respiratory infections than peers who clocked 7 to 8 hours. Even minor improvements, like slowing down screens before bed, adding a bedtime drink, or creating comforting rituals, can spark immune rebounds. If sleep rebuilds the fortress from the inside, movement fortifies its walls. Not high-impact exercise, but gentle circulation, mindful stretches, and deliberate activity. Physiology shows that even moderate movement revs up immune function. It enhances T-cell performance, boosts vaccine response, lowers age-related inflammation, and improves blood flow. Take Lillian, 85, living in Vermont's quiet countryside. She loved sunny mornings, but her doctor had warned her about circulation. Her feet often went numb from sitting too long. Lillian decided to reconnect with her neighborhood by walking 10 minutes daily, then 20, then 30. "I wave to neighbors, feel the air. I breathe," she shares. This simple act didn't just warm her legs, it warmed her spirit. In the following months, she had no winter bugs and found her balance steady. A University of Illinois study confirms older adults walking 30 minutes a day have 40% fewer colds and recover faster due to better immune surveillance and lymphatic clearance. Even something as straightforward as a morning walk becomes an act of thriving. But what happens when physical limitations, like joint pain, past strokes, or arthritis, get in the way? We find inspiration in Jean-Paul's story. He was once a marathon runner from Quebec until a mini-stroke halted him. Instead of giving in, he adapted. He began Tai Chi and light resistance band routines twice daily, just 10-minute sessions. In 6 months, he described regaining mobility, breathing easier, and feeling more alive than before. His doctor confirmed lower inflammation levels and stronger immune response following that year's flu shot. His routine wasn't about fitness, it was about reclaiming life. And science affirms it. Even moderate resistance and mobility exercises improve immune resilience in older adults. These health habits, consistent sleep, gentle movement, bond together in silent harmony. Consider a simple schedule. Sleep by 8 p.m. with a cup of herbal tea, rise after 8 hours of rest, a morning walk to greet the day, light Tai Chi or stretching before breakfast, mindful meals supporting gut health and immunity, and early evening reflection. That rhythm, subtle yet structured, becomes a way of living that the immune system learns to rely on. Yet none of this would endure without the underpinning mindset, motivation, intention, and awareness. Elderly Reflections teaches that resilience is not just biological, it's psychological. You don't restore health by ignoring limitations. You confront them, adapt around them, and remain consistent. That quiet refusal to let age define your body, that choice to respond rather than surrender, is the essence of natural immunity. These seniors, Raymond, Lillian, Jean-Paul, and others we'll meet, didn't chase quick fixes or glossy pills. They nurtured habits rooted in the rhythms of earth, body, and heart. And science consistently backs their choices. Sleep restores immune memory, gentle activity mobilizes defense, routine creates resilience. As you listen, know this isn't a mere checklist. It's an invitation to step outside today, to sit with intention tonight, to move with mindful purpose, to nourish your gut with care, to cherish recovery as strength. Because when we accept that we still have choices after 70, we reclaim not just our immunity, but our power to write the rest of our story. In this part, we discover that natural immunity isn't built alone. It thrives in connection. It lives in shared routines, collective encouragement, and the power of being seen. The same sunlight, fermented food, sleep routines, and gentle movement are far more potent when woven into the fabric of community and carried through challenges. In southern France, 20 seniors gather twice a week under a plane tree, weaving in and out of Tai Chi movements, warm air, quiet laughter, afternoon sunlight. This is Les Amis du Soleil, a simple name for a remarkable group. They don't meet for fitness classes, they meet for each other. They share chaises, tea, stories. Every cough, good or bad, is checked. Every triumph, walking another lap, sleeping through the night, skipping antibiotics this season, is celebrated. Their collective rhythm boosts individual resilience. A study in BMC Geriatrics found that seniors participating in group exercise had 30% fewer doctor visits than those exercising alone. Social connection amplifies motivation, reduces anxiety, and even enhances immune response through reduced stress hormones like cortisol. Being in someone else's presence makes healthy habits feel doable. Shared schedules, shared tea, shared accountability. Take Margit, 82, who moved to Germany from Hungary after her husband passed. Alone at first, she almost stopped her evening walks. But when a neighbor invited her to Les Amis du Soleil, everything shifted. She found not just company, but purpose. She said, "When I fall, dozens of hands help me up, kind hands, friendly hands." Her commitment deepened. What began as gentle Tai Chi became sunrise walks along the river, then weekly soup nights with fermented vegetables she learned to make with friends. Over time, she saw fewer antibiotics, slept longer, felt stronger. Margit's story shows how health routines entwine with belonging, and belonging inspires consistency. Yet life throws curveballs. Holidays, travel, illness, family crises, they disrupt routines. When Margit went to Hungary for her granddaughter's wedding, her sleep rhythm fell apart, her gut flared up, and she caught a bad cold. But thanks to years of habit, she recovered faster than most. Within 3 days, after a day of rest, probiotic yogurt, and elderberry juice, she was out dancing at the reception. A Harvard long-term care study shows that seniors with well-established health habits recover 25% faster from common illnesses and return to baseline activity within 2 weeks, while others take a month or more. Health habits become more resilient when they're flexible. Roberto, 88, in Sicily, lost his wife in winter. Depression made him stop cooking meals, stop walking, stop connecting. His granddaughter insisted he visit a community center. Hesitant at first, he found himself drawn to breaking bread with old friends, listening to accordion music, taking short evening strolls by the sea. He learned sauerkraut back in Germany, but in Sicily, he began pickling olives and fermented capers. He replaced his morning green tea with lemon water after his heartburn returned. In 6 months, his spirit lifted. His doctor noted stable lab results. The lessons. Your path may look different, but the same natural principles. Connection, nourishment, rest, movement, still work. This adaptability is a hallmark of resilience. Ripple effects form when one senior's habits inspire others. In rural Wisconsin, Helen, 90, began baking kefir bread in her village kitchen. Soon, neighbors lined up not just for slices, but to swap recipes and morning stories. They formed a walking group, and Sunday breakfast became shared moments. Sunlight, tea, movement, shared laughter. A longitudinal study by the National Institute on Aging showed that seniors embedded in community health groups not only improved physical health, but reported higher subjective well-being, lower depression, and even improved cognition over 5 years. Community becomes a container for long-term wellness. So what makes these habits stick? It's not perfection. It's pattern, purpose, and connection. It's waking up knowing you'll sit in sun with a friend, or cook fermented snacks for a group, or walk with someone who greets you by name. That's how Elderly Reflections teaches. Habits become heritage when shared. Before closing, let's revisit the science behind this synergy. Group-based gentle exercise versus solo efforts led to significantly lower inflammation markers and better immune function. Sleep routines backed by communal accountability improved duration and quality. Friends remind each other lights out. Shared meals increase nutrition diversity and help maintain healthy gut flora. And shared purpose, whether through caring, teaching, or simply belonging, reduces stress hormones and boosts natural killer cell activity. These are not abstractions. They're mechanisms rooted in connection. And before we truly end, there's one more rhythm that deserves its own spotlight. One that pulses quietly beneath the surface of every vibrant elder we've met so far. Gentle, daily movement. Not high-impact workouts or intimidating gym routines, but light, mindful activity that awakens the body without depleting it. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about preserving energy while activating the immune system's most natural mechanisms: circulation, lymphatic drainage, and white blood cell mobility. Movement, when done consistently and gently, has a measurable impact on immune defense. A study from the University of Illinois found that seniors who walked just 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, had 40% fewer colds and recovered significantly faster when they did get sick. Their immune systems weren't stressed, they were stimulated. Their inflammation levels were lower, and their white blood cells moved with more efficiency, more awareness. Take Lillian, 85, from Vermont. Every morning, no matter the weather, she walks a slow loop around her block. "It clears my lungs, gets my blood going," she told us. And it's more than just a physical habit, it's a ritual. She waves to her neighbors, pauses to smell lilacs in spring, watches squirrels dart across fences. It's these small connections to her surroundings that, as she puts it, wake up my whole being. Her doctor once said her immune markers were better than some of his 60-year-old patients. But what matters most to Lillian? I don't feel stuck anymore. I feel like I'm in motion, even when I'm standing still. Movement isn't only about joints and muscles, it's about mindset. A moving body encourages a moving mind, and that translates into a more alert immune system. What starts as a simple walk can evolve into something bigger, a reclaiming of daily rhythm, a gentle confrontation of stagnation. Some seniors, like Jean-Paul in Quebec, choose Tai Chi. Others add simple stretching or yoga. Breathing exercises, when paired with these routines, reduce cortisol, a stress hormone known to suppress immune activity. And the beauty of this approach? It doesn't require perfect health, expensive equipment, or youthful stamina. It requires consistency. A body that moves, even slowly, even briefly, signals to the immune system, I'm still here, I'm still living, stay alert with me. So how can one begin? Set aside 20-30 minutes each day for light walking, even if it's around your living room. Add 5 minutes of deep breathing or gentle seated yoga. Listen to your body's cues. Don't exhaust, activate. Don't strain, stimulate. This is not about effort, it's about engagement. When we reflect on immunity after 70, we often look for complex solutions, new treatments, advanced diagnostics. But sometimes, the answer lies in the simplest of motions, one foot in front of the other, one quiet breath after another. In those moments, we tell our body, we tell life itself, I choose to keep going. Now, some of you may wonder, what if I don't have a group yet? Start small. A phone call with a neighbor, a weekly visit to a community center, an online group of seniors sharing recipes or tips. These virtual connections can spark real habits. The form isn't the point. The point is, you don't have to walk this alone. As we bring this journey to a close, take a moment to reflect. Do you see yourself in these stories? The sun on a quiet walk, the laughter of new friends, the taste of fermented meals, the peace of nights that heal instead of haunt. These are not luxuries. They're choices. Choices rooted in nature and nurtured by community. Choices that say, even at 70, I choose to remain engaged. Even at 80, I choose to be resilient. Even at 90, I choose to pass this gift along. And so we close with an invitation, not to try harder, but to trust more. Trust in the rhythms of life. Trust in the power of quiet habits. Trust in the reflection held when we see ourselves mirrored in others. This is the legacy of natural immunity, not found in bottles, but shared at tables, on porches, and in the simple echo of, I remember when. If there's one thing we've learned from these stories, it's this. Resilience after 70 doesn't roar. It hums. It lives in the morning light on a porch, in the warmth of a simple meal, in the steady rhythm of footsteps on a quiet street. It's not about avoiding aging, but aging with intention, with dignity, with connection. Natural immunity is not a secret. It's a return to what the body always knew. Sunlight, fermented food, gentle movement, deep rest, loving community. These are not trends, they are timeless truths, passed down in the whispers of those who've lived long enough to know what truly matters. So if today's video offered you a moment of reflection, a story that stayed with you, or an idea worth trying, please consider giving it a like. It helps us share these messages with more people seeking the same quiet strength. And don't forget to subscribe to Elderly Reflections, where each week we bring you real stories, real wisdom, and practical inspiration for life after 60. Tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? We'd love to know your name, your town, and your journey, because your reflection may be the one someone else needs to hear next. Until next time, stay kind to your body and gentle with your days.